Jnanatimirandasya Jnananjalashalakhya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namah Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamahyam Dadati Svaparantikam Vandeham Shri Gurun Shri Utaparakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunatam Vitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadhutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakam Vitamscha He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandho Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Taptakanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sutadevi Pranamami Haripriye Vanchakalpa Tarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhya eva cha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shivasadi Gaura Bhaktavrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. So we were doing the subject of Bhagavad-gītā. Basically, we were speaking about 5 topics, which is Ishvara or Supreme Controller, Jiva, the living entity, Prakriti or material nature, Kala, time, and Karma, the activities of living entities. And now we look on the result of understanding of Bhagavad-gītā. All Vedic knowledge is infallible. The Hindus accept Vedic knowledge to be complete and infallible. For example, cow dung is the stool of an animal, and according to Smriti or Vedic injunction, if one touches the stool of an animal, he is to take a bath to purify himself. But in the Vedic scriptures, cow dung is considered to be a purifying agent. One might consider this to be contradictory, but it is accepted because it is Vedic injunction, and indeed by accepting this, one will not commit a mistake. Subsequently, it has been proved by modern science that cow dung contains all antiseptic properties. So Vedic knowledge is complete because it is above all doubts and mistakes, and Bhagavad-gītā is the essence of all Vedic knowledge. So even the modern scientists did this experiment and proved that Vedic knowledge is like speaks truth. Truth is in there. Even there are kind of exceptions from the rules, but still they're correct. And I have my own personal experience by working with cow dung. I felt so pure in my hands. So I really felt this, not even like gross purity, but also this subtle purity. So this is also the property of the cow dung, but this modern science, I don't think they can measure it, this subtle purity. Vedic knowledge is not a question of research. Our research work is imperfect because we are researching things with imperfect senses. We have to accept perfect knowledge, which comes down, as it is stated in Bhagavad-gītā, by the parampara, disciplic succession. We have to receive knowledge from the proper source in disciplic succession, beginning with the Supreme Spiritual Master, the Lord Himself, and handed down to a succession of spiritual masters. Arjuna, the student who took lessons from Lord Shri Krishna, accepts everything that he says without contradicting him. One is not allowed to accept one portion of Bhagavad-gītā and not another. No, we must accept Bhagavad-gītā without interpretation, without deletion, and without our own whimsical participation in the matter. The Gita should be taken as the most perfect presentation of Vedic knowledge. Vedic knowledge is received from transcendental sources, and the first words were spoken by the Lord himself. The words spoken by the Lord are called apaurushaya, meaning that they are different from words spoken by a person of the mundane world who is infected with 4 defects. A mundaner is, 1 is sure to commit mistakes, 2 is invariably illusioned, 3 has tendency to cheat others, and 4 is limited by imperfect senses. With these 4 imperfections, one cannot deliver perfect information of all-pervading knowledge. So important in taking the Vedic knowledge that we take it as a whole, because if we don't do it, then happens what Srila Prabhupada was basically describing in the beginning of this introduction. I think also in the preface that some people are taking just part of Bhagavad-gītā and build their own theory on top of it. So this is not proper way how to approach the scripture, to take something out of context and make some theories. Even practitioners of bhakti-yoga or devotees, there might be the tendency, if something is not convenient for us, so we are trying to make some excuses, and we look into scripture to prove this theory of ours, that our weakness is okay, that we can find it in the scripture, but we are taking only things out of context just to prove our nonsense or our weakness. So this is also not proper to. It's called a rationalization. So we should not do also this, that we misuse the scripture for our personal benefit, or in this way. I mean selfish benefit, not spiritual benefit. Yes, and also Lord's, when we have comparison of the Lord and conditioned living entities, so there is difference in a way that Lord is perfect in his delivering the transcendental knowledge, and his words are called apaurushaya, or which means infallible. So anything what is delivered by the Lord, there cannot be any mistake in it. But regarding the conditioned living entities, they have they are not perfect in what they can deliver, because they have these 4 imperfections. 1 is they commit mistakes, they are illusioned, they have tendency to cheat, and also they have imperfect senses. So if we base our research, even what modern scientists are doing, basically, if everything applies to the modern science, then there is very clear that the knowledge which they are producing is not perfect. They are starting by imperfect senses, because they take their knowledge only from observation by the senses. So this is first thing why it is imperfect, and then also the experiments cover only part of the reality. They cannot observe everything. So in this way, they build up these imperfections one upon the other, and the result is very clear that all the time they are changing their theories. So, but the Vedic knowledge is always the same, and always we can prove that it is correct. Vedic knowledge is not imparted by such defective living entities. It was imparted unto the heart of Brahma, the first created living being. And Brahma, in his turn, disseminated this knowledge to his sons and disciples, as he originally received it from the Lord. The Lord is Purnam, all perfect, and there is no possibility of his becoming subjected to the laws of material nature. One should therefore be intelligent enough to know that the Lord is the only proprietor of everything in the universe, and that he is the original creator, the creator of Brahma. In the 11th chapter, the Lord is addressed as Prapitamaha, because Brahma is addressed as Pitamaha, the grandfather, and he is the creator of the grandfather. So no one should claim to be the proprietor of anything. One should accept only things set aside for him by the Lord as his quota for his maintenance. Yes, again, the same thing that defective living entities have difficulties to deliver perfect knowledge. So therefore, Lord imparted it into kind of perfect being, which was Lord Brahma, or is Lord Brahma, and other, let's say, sages, his sons and disciples. So these perfected living entities could deliver the knowledge properly without any changes or adulteration. And this is again from Sri Ishopanishad, is mantra 1, which is speaking about our quota, that everyone is given some quota for his maintenance by the Lord, and so we should not encroach upon the others. And because all the creation is perfect and is complete, so it means that our quota also should be enough for us, so we can live comfortably and also do spiritual progress along with it, so we don't have to take others' property. And this is very practical day-to-day recommendation, that we should sense what we should take, what we should not take, because when we take more than somebody is lacking. Also, one of the application of this is that if we have particular nature, let's say somebody has nature of a businessman, but he thinks that let's say he's going to do administration, so he's taking the quota of somebody who would do administration, and he's not taking his quota as a businessman. So this is also application. We also got our body, we also got some nature with this body, some conditioning, and this is our quota, what we should use. We should not pretend that we are someone else and doing his duty, executing his duty, because this is his quota. And Krishna speaks about it in, I think, 3rd chapter, 4th chapter, also, that he recommends that somebody is doing his duty, although imperfectly, rather than another's duty in a perfect way, because we should not take others' quota. They got this opportunity to do their duties according to their nature, because they had this desire, so they have to purify this desire, and it is not possible if they are not engaged in their nature, if they are not engaging it in Lord service. So even we are even blocking these other persons from their spiritual advancement, because they cannot apply their nature. And if we are not applying our nature, then mind is not satisfied, and it's very difficult to focus also on spiritual practices. So it has so wide consequences, just this simple thing, just engaging one's nature. And this quota can be applied in many things, because Lord really, he gave us everything what we need. So we don't need to speculate that we need something more or like this. Even we should not take less, because if we have some quota, we should use it. If somebody is giving us some resources, we should use it for Lord service also. So we should not say that we are somehow renounced, or because it may be artificial also. So yeah, that's about the quota. Okay, that's it. About the process of understanding Bhagavad-gītā. So we spoke that Vedic knowledge is infallible, and we should take it as it is without any doubts, and we should take it as complete without deleting or adding something. And also it's not question of research. We should accept it as it is coming from the disciplic succession. And the Lord, everything what is spoken by the Lord is paurushaya or infallible, because Lord is also infallible. Okay. So tomorrow we are going to do tomorrow will be a result of understanding Bhagavad-gītā. Okay, Hare Krishna.